This conference will now be recorded.
And if you would all please stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Remain standing for just a moment for the invocation. Father, we ask for your continued prayers for all those suffering from Hurricane Ian. Be with them as they recover from their loss of life and property. We ask that you also be with us tonight as we conduct the town's business and anything else that we need. We ask this in Jesus' name, amen. Okay, our mayor is away and he is down at NACO fall conference, so I'm filling in for him tonight. The first order of business is to review and approve of the minutes from our regular meeting on September the 19th. Has everyone had a chance to review the minute with Brady and what day it is, and what time it is?
I got into JFK last night from 1 o'clock.
I remember the game about 2 a.m.
He just returned from Italy, so we gotta get him back on the right time.
Italy, Greece, and Turkey.
Yeah.
Did you know you cannot get spaghetti meatballs in Italy? Like, it's in America. I don't care where it is, it's good. You get spaghetti or you get meatballs, you don't get them yet.
So,
Anyway.
anyway,
In the town plan report, it should say bond release. It's a small typo, sorry.
okay. Any other?
DOD. It's
Gotcha.
a very small typo.
Yep.
That's the only thing I
Okay, any other corrections? Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
got. I'll make a motion to accept it.
Okay, do I have a second? All those in favor, aye? Opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved with the correction. Thank you, Mary Lee. The next order of business is the treasurer's report. And I sent out several copies, so I hope you got the last one. Sorry about that. It was a fun day today. We'll start off with the general fund. And in the general fund, we have a current balance of $1,983,335.79. There is that little $4 error that we're still trying to figure out.
I would just put that to miscellaneous income or expense. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a
Okay.
significant amount.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It can't
All right.
resolve.
All right, well, I'll give him,
It's being investigated.
yeah, I was gonna say, they're looking into it, so,
Well, I don't know what, you know what I mean? It's just, if, you know, it gets resolved, but.
all right, I'll take a note for that, sure, thanks. All right, under our CDs, with the general fund, we have $2,175,740.07. And of course, if you look down the page, the water fund and the sewer fund, those CDs have been redeemed and they're all zeroed out. Moving on to the water fund, we have a balance of $563,157.55. And I don't think there was anything unusual going on there, just normal business. Under the sewer fund, we have a balance of $160,921.99. And with our other accounts, we have the restricted funds at the top, $2,152,903.62. We did get the breakdown. That's been missing for a while. So you see there, you have the excise tax funds, the hotel motel, highway user. We are holding $1,200 from the Boone for Town Alliance. And we have received $2 million and $1 million increments, one from the county and one from the state. Of course, those funds are earmarked for a reservoir. And you see the interest there to date. Payroll accounts, just a ZBA account. The American Rescue Plan Act funds, we're sitting at $3,108,526.26. Played on the lottery. The water fund user fees money market has a balance of $174,134.93. And the sewer fund user fee has a balance of $84,813.49. Those are all of our current funds. And if anybody has any questions?
I have a question. Okay, I saw where we transferred June through August to the sewer fund. Back to, gonna be doing that monthly?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then I didn't see where we transferred sanitation to the general. Just to make, did I miss it, or just gonna make sure we're doing that as well?
I don't know that it's there, Mary, but I'll double check on it for you. Okay,
I didn't
sanitation,
catch that first.
okay,
Let me see.
sure. Any other questions? If none, I'd like to have a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank you. The treasurer's report was approved and passed. Next on the agenda, oh no, I'm sorry, I'll skip something. Let me go back. So along with the treasurer's report, we have the investment policy amendment draft that was included. Did you all get a copy of that? Okay. Basically, what we're looking to do is number 9 in our policy. It states that the delivery versus payment based is verbiage where we're hoping to maybe change that up so that the business could be conducted with a brokerage investment firm so long as the investment security is FDIC insured, and the firm's ability to insure the custody of the funds with Securities Investors Protection Corporation, the SIPC insurance. That would allow us to have a little bit more leeway to do some things that we're not able to do with investments currently. Does anybody have any questions about that policy change?
Well, my only question is that allowed by municipal law? I just, I know municipal law has different laws than others, but I know we updated it back in 2015.
Yeah, we've had this conversation with Jason, and I think he reached out to Al Martin. So I think what needs to happen is you need to be able to ensure custody of the funds until the security is purchased. So, and then also when the security is redeemed, between the time of redemption and delivery of funds.
I guess my big question is, wonder why one investment firm accepts it and another doesn't?
You mean why does Middletown Valley is okay?
Like Middletown Valley accepted it, Wells Fargo accepted it, but it was Edward Jones that.
Edward Jones is very peculiar.
I can comment.
Yeah, please do.
Okay. So Edward Jones isn't a bank. And traditionally banks are the only institutions that can offer delivery versus payment.
Okay.
We can offer delivery versus payment, but it has to be through a third-party vendor. And then that third party can charge fees and things that make it not worth it to do that in the first place.
So Wells Fargo has a banking, as long as that allows them to do it.
Yep, that's the simple answer.
Okay. So as long as the funds are properly secured and it would allow us to do business and make some better investments, would you all be willing to pass the amendment?
Yes.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, I talked to Tyler a little bit about it today to make sure I completely understood this FDIC insurance,
Okay.
and I think I do. So even though we may be investing over the limit, because we would be investing with different banks, that's how we would be protected. Does that sound right, Kyle?
More or
Well,
less.
we have that with Wells Fargo
That's
already.
something, that's
It's
something
just
new.
something that they don't have a banking, so there was some kind of like interim thing between them purchasing it from our bank and getting it to them, I guess, is that limbo period of
there has
transfer period, that closing.
They have to be able to ensure custody while the fund security is identified and purchased. You guys have special accounts that the money sits in.
Yeah, we have insured bank deposit, so anytime money is in limbo or deposited or CD becomes matured, it can automatically sweep into insured bank deposit, which is also federally insured, just like the money is at a bank.
Okay. All right.
You mentioned we'd be able to be covered under SIPC the same way we could under FDIC. You just have to have several accounts, is that?
Yes, it's 500,000 and that's IPC insurance, but if all you're owning is CDs or insured bank deposit, the FDIC insurance is the main fallback option. Yeah.
Did you want to make that in the form of a motion? Okay.
You didn't give us the exact verbiage of what you're changing it to.
That's the highlighted?
Yeah, but that's a business that can be conducted, but are you gonna add that
Yes.
plus what's not, it's not replacing?
Yes,
what's not?
yes. It would be in addition to, correct.
Okay. That's what I was a little confused.
Okay. Any other questions? Now, would you like to make that in the form of a motion, Aaron?
To make that in the form of a motion, if I knew how to say it, that we can use Edward Jones and other like businesses to invest money in. That's simple, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, that's the gist of it. We're
As long as
just,
they can ensure.
So I think we have to update the financial policy. Do change the
yes,
Yes.
yes.
resolution. That's what you mentioned.
Yeah, to amend resolution number 2/2018 to include the following verbiage in section 9, and whatever, business can include the following verbiage, business can be conducted with brokerage, investment firms, as long as the investment security is FDIC insured and the firm's ability to ensure custody of the funds with Security Investor Protection Corporation insurance.
That would be your motion.
That would be it.
Okay, so we have a motion to update the policy. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. Any other questions?
We're sure that that's allowed with protective dollars.
Yes. Any other questions? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the amendment passes for our investment policy. Thank you.
And then Tony, as far as moving on with that, we'll talk about what amounts we want to invest in the future from which of the funds and everything.
Yes, yes. And we're gonna get back into the same application that we had before. We had several tiered, so that they were coming due and then, yes, enrolling through. Yep, exactly.
Well, I guess staff should have some recommendations for the workshop then.
Yes. That way we can get it all figured out. All right. Next on the agenda, we have a guest. Gary Harding is here, and we're going to get a proposal on the Between the Pines Family Camping Resort. Please come up here and have a seat, just state your name and address, and then you can give us your presentation, sir.
Hi, my name is Gary Harding. I live in 10145 Rock Drive in Town. I live right outside of Town, in between here and town. And I'm looking to propose to build a 114 space RV campground, family camping resort. Proposing on 67 just outside of the circle. There's a 13-acre piece of property that I'm working on procuring. And that would be just outside of the town, I think. May I present this?
Sure.
This is the GIS map here.
All right,
showing 67 the circle. This is the piece of property that would need to be annexed.
okay. And how many acres is that?
That is 13.
13?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can continue.
Yeah, so I have already presented to the planning commission as well. And we've started that process. And right now we're basically in the design phase and wanted to, I've already had some many discussions with the mayor and Mr. Metello. And of course, Riley. And so this is kind of what brings us to the formality of being here. Everybody's kind of felt like, everything's been a pretty good idea and that everybody was for it. And that we just need to go through the formalities of each.
Did they talk to you about whereabouts Boyer Boulevard's going to go through?
Yes, and it does. It would basically come through the GIS map that you have there. It basically comes up right directly next to that apple. It would be directly coming through to the right of that, so it wouldn't be coming through the property. It's not obviously ideal for me and what I'm looking to do, but I think that we'd be able to create enough separation and things with trees and such that I don't feel like it'd be a huge issue for us.
Are you affiliated with any national chains, KOA, anything like that? Just from the-
I'm a family, I'm just, I'm a family guy. And I run a construction company right now. We do underground utilities and we build parks and such things exactly like this type of thing. I don't get to spend as much time with my family as I'd really like to because of that. And so we got a motorhome years ago and we do a lot of Fridays through Mondays and we spend most of our time like that. So I found that was just a great way to spend time with my family. I've had amazing and just the relationships and all the great people that I've met and stuff along the way. And I really want to do something for the town that I belong to and that, my kids go to school here. This is where I go to church and this is where I plan on spending the rest of my life. And I definitely want to do something for the town, something that I feel like, would definitely bring business and something positive to the town. And there's a lot of new families and things such as myself moving here. We don't have anything to do. So I'd like to propose to have this campground and then also be able to build onto that to have a water park and such as well. And something like this. I'll kind of pass this around. And I have other ones that I can give out as well. But this is kind of our concept plan of what I'm looking to do. And
Okay, we actually got this one, the small version.
yep, and then I also have one of these if you guys, if anybody would like, need anything as well. Well, I just have some paper on here. If you're like me and just like a piece of paper, that's the way I am, so. But yeah, so basically this is the general concept. I'll be looking at doing the campsites first and the camp store and the event center would be kind of the first initial construction and then within probably 2 to 3 years moving in and fully building out the slides and the more of the water features.
Okay.
Question, why would you want annexed into the town? Why wouldn't you just work with the county? Because I don't think Yogi Bear's not a municipality.
It's not, no, it's not. And I specifically wanted to be a part of the town. I wanted to specifically try to do something to bring something here. I personally wanted that for myself. I wanted to be able to do something. I came here, and I wanted to be able to leave more. I don't have any particular other reasons other than that.
How's that going to affect the water and sewer system?
My next question.
Well,
Or water and sewer application.
Well, we're not even anywhere near that part of the process yet. They're in the design phase. And it would have to go through all the other commissions and be vetted. So I don't know the answer to that question yet. So
And we have multiple different plans for that. So we have independent wells, we have well and septic specifically on site that we could do. I have multiple different plans.
But that's, I guess, where we, like,
Yeah,
can't
that's
go
just-
septic
yeah.
town.
Well, that's what I'm saying, so
Yeah,
it's-
that's what I'm
if
saying, why
it
would
wouldn't
you
work
stay in the county?
with the town, that's plan B.
Do you have any plans for the off-season? Now,
I do. So, basically, I mean, I would keep people as long as they would want to stay. But the 4 cabins that I'll have there, I'll have those to where, I would try to be able to keep those rented throughout the winter months, obviously, to be able to pay the mortgage and such. But ultimately, try to keep as many sites open as possible.
How about year-round RV storage or?
I don't have any plans for that. There's, the way the property is kind of set up and things, there's really not any excess area really. Yeah.
Would you have on a monthly basis or can you have someone who can stay seasonally?
Absolutely, yeah, all the above, yeah. So I would accommodate anybody that would, any area for now, absolutely. And I would, we would work out the arrangements for it, because there's specific things too that you don't necessarily want, especially as a town, you don't want skirts and a lot of things like that don't look good and everything from the road. There's a lot of ways, I think, of being able to accept people year round, but there'll have to be some accommodations that have to be met that aren't necessarily an eyesore.
And RV to tent sites, how many
Yeah.
tent sites do you have? So you have 112 sites.
Yeah, it's basically the
Within the
total
RV tent?
So, basically, this, let me,
You're gonna have dump station and all that.
well, every single one's gonna have, we would have, hookups at nearly every site. The only, these sites here that are on the bottom here, the majority of these here are gonna be tent sites, so not a lot of campsites, or tent sites rather. I would say, right now, like, also, it's one of those things that's kind of fluid. I'm not stuck to any one thing, especially with planning and all the different things that could go into it. I think the exact number of those, I think. I don't have any one hard particular number I'm trying to meet.
Your pads for your RVs, so you're gonna have concrete,
Yeah.
you're gonna be.
Only some concrete and they'll be gravel.
You get the MS4 thing.
Yes, I did see that. That's for TMDL credits? Is that what you're referring to? Yeah. Yeah, I did see something on that.
So what's the process? Do you have to go to planning and zoning first? Do you have to have you-
That's annexation first.
Yeah, I mean,
First, you gotta purchase them.
right, I was gonna say, we haven't gotten a purchase yet, so before he can even start the annexation process, the next thing will be to secure the purchase of the property. So it's really in the very beginning.
Just south of the circle on the left-hand side.
It's
No, as you're going up the
it's west
hill,
on 67,
it's on the
on the right.
the first road that goes back to our,
Appleton.
Yeah. Like across from there.
right there. About where we're building.
It's
Before you get
on
to King Road,
Right.
is that right?
Yes, yeah, closer to the circle than the king.
You got, yeah, you got the road here, you got, I think that's next
I would
road.
say
It's next right up the
probably
top of the
something
line.
make
And it's actually down as far.
Exactly, directly next to Appletown, so you'd be entering the property from Appletown.
make-
Up far, they ground belongs to the King Road Station.
Down the region.
Yeah.
It's part of that road, the cows. Part of that property belong to King Road Station. Yes, it's the cows. Belong to King Road.
I don't believe this 13 acres he's referring
It
to.
does not,
belongs to
it's
this-
behind it. King Road is the, Associates really starts off, so if you're looking at the map on, this is the circle on 67, this is all King Road Associates.
Mhm.
This would be the piece of property right here.
Okay, so when you have campfire there and the wind blows towards these new residents, are we gonna get complaints of that? Well, we got time on this, way down the road, I'm just wondering, I'm thinking of the.
I mean, I can't even give you an opinion until we put it out in front of the public to see what the public is for. I mean, I'm a representative of what they want, not what I want.
Is the proposed site contiguous with town limits?
What's that?
Is it contiguous with town limits? Is it adjacent to town limits or is it?
From Riley, yes, it is, yes. She's the one that told me, yes, it was, and then it wouldn't be an issue. I have the paperwork and all this.
All this is King Road here.
Right, but all this is stone farm.
That, yes, and I believe that's the individual, I mean, it didn't come up, but I believe that's the individual that we'd be purchasing from, that's the stone thing. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot that we have at this moment, other than just hearing the presentation. Obviously, we asked some questions. I think that you'll just need to continue the process and follow it through, and we'll be more informed as you go through that step process. But I guess that, the next thing you want to do would be to do something contingent on the purchase.
Well, and I have that, like, right now, I have a contract written, I have a check written, I have everything ready to go on that.
Okay.
I wanted to make sure this meeting went well. It seemed like this was all part of the process that I needed to go through, so I didn't want to offer anybody all my money if that's something that was an issue. We can't, yeah.
I think what you want to do in this situation though is just get Mr. Stone under contract.
Yeah.
Rather than buy property.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So
Yes,
so
I understand.
you can negotiate all these other things, all these other hoops we're gonna have to jump through.
Right.
We're
I have never been through an annexation process. I'm not sure how, Kim, have you,
They did all the annexation, probably like a year or two after I started here.
I would imagine there's public hearings. all
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that's gonna be a long drawn out process.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Well, this was, like I said, I wasn't planning on necessarily doing this. This is from the planning commission meeting and speaking with Raleigh, this is what I was.
And I would imagine it also be a zoning change, currently agricultural use.
Yeah.
So there were zoning.
Well, yeah, that was not,
Yeah.
that was not our
Yeah.
property, so,
We got annex it to this zone.
yeah.
I think it's a neat idea. I think, so it's gonna be a long journey.
Well, that's it, it was to find out what that entails and what different hoops we could jump through, that's all the things. I'm a single guy and also any information and stuff in this process would definitely help.
We'd be happy to share, whatever resources we have and obviously we can help guide you through the process and all that sort of stuff. So at least from the towns and.
Can you go forward without the annexation? It's a county thing.
Yes, I
We go through the county.
I could, yeah, I believe.
So I mean, if it's a long drawn out process for annexation, is that gonna hinder you? I mean, you need to get moving on that.
That's it though, so I'm going through all the different steps and just finding out what those different
Have you
processes.
explored that with the health department and MDE would allow you to do well and septic?
And I,
On this scale, I don't think that's gonna be feasible, especially with a water park.
I'm not.
Yogi Bear, I don't know what Yogi Bear.
That's the thing.
That'd be a place.
And that's it though, so.
But yeah, there was some
But Yogi-
zoning changes and things that had to happen. for
Yogi
that.
Bear wasn't there to begin with, it was a private park, it was a campground with some cabins and some tent sites, and they would do trailers when they got.
I
when they
know,
bought
I
the
know
land.
there was legislation that had to.
Yeah. I didn't stay involved with that, but I know that there were big changes that were made once they went into that franchise agreement with Yogi Bear. And they did install a water park.
Right.
And upgraded a lot of different parts of that facility, so. And I'm not familiar with any of that, other than just being in the area for 30-some years.
Everything starts with a dream.
That's it.
Well, yeah. I mean,
So- You know?
What your aspirations are, it's just that.
But
it's
yeah,
way, way early in the process for us, and I'm sure we'll be back together again. as the
Yeah,
process
yeah, I
continues.
most certainly did, I don't want to waste anybody's time,
Yeah.
like I said, it was,
In your mind, is there a time frame? What's the time, what's your thought process on?
I mean, I'm-
when you can move on?
right now, I'm ready to go.
You're ready to go?
Yeah, I pretty much, everything's ready, yeah. We're in design phase, and I need to make sure that obviously everything works everywhere before you go too crazy with that. 'Cause I'm already starting, things get expensive quickly with design.
Yeah.
Yogi Bear was there when kids actually knew who Yogi Bear was.
Yeah, that's funny, yeah. Well, that's how the best business model for a campground is to buy one at mom and pop owned. Well, there's not one around to buy, so.
Okay. Anybody else have any other questions? Okay. All right, well, we thank you so much and good luck.
Good luck.
And we'll see you sometime, right?
Yeah, I was like, you can hang on to those, you may need them. We get them back eventually.
If you're in the process in the planning stage, I recommend you to get in touch with our Economic Development Commission.
Yes, I,
Tyler is my resident, and, you know, that just, you know, they're helpful, there's resources, and you can network with them as well. You're gonna ask a neighbor, and you don't have to actually be in the town to do what you're pushing up. So be active with them if you plan on being seriously involved in Southern town, it's a good place to start.
Ray, would you mind grabbing the sheet on the, were you the one signed up, sir?
Yeah.
On your sign up sheet?
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay.
I didn't sign up, but I did just want to say, like, thank
Tyler Hornbecker.
I didn't want to dip out of the back without saying anything.
No.
So I just thank you all for, you know, hearing me out on the whole policy. I think we have some really great things we can offer along the way. I feel like I was here like 4 years ago and it didn't work out at that time, but I'm happy that it might now. I'm happy for any opportunity just to be a resource for the town. I'm trying to get more involved. So anytime I can do that, just let me know.
Okay, well, thank you.
Well, we're giving somebody millions of dollars, it certainly helps the person, not voice on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm right there.
We can, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll stay tomorrow, Tyler. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so, we don't have any other public comments signed up. Mayor and council correspondence, I'll just go over a few things. We did have our fall bulk pickup this past Saturday and our tree giveaway. I did not participate with the bulk pickup. I didn't have any trash this year, but I did pick up my tree and I planted that. I'm hoping that it grows. I've been watering it 2 gallons every day, Marilyn. Yes, thank you. Well, these get started.
Please don't.
Actually, no, it was bed at the top. Anyway, October the 18th is Boom Fest. That's approaching fast. That's going to be here in town from 10 to 5. And October 23rd, we have our Cruise for Kids Trunk or Treat, or Trunk and Treat auto show from 10 to 5. And then we do have Trick or Treat coming up on the 31st from 6 to 8. Does anybody else have any other correspondence from the town? Oh, you couldn't. Get me in here.
And I would put it, I can talk about it later. Prior to me going on vacation, I had a meeting with Bloomsboro Museum of History. Senator Quarterman came out for a visit, presentation. They're a nonprofit organization. They were asking Senator Quarterman to give a great tour. And they're asking him for assistance in, you know, funding and ideas. So 2 things came of it. First thing, I would like to get, I think it'd be a great idea if the town council took an actual tour of the place. They have 2 buildings there. There's a phenomenal collection of things at our vast personal collection. So one, I think that everybody here should be familiar with it, because the second part is, one of the things that was discussed and proposed by not only Senator Porter, but a couple others, is that in order to seek funding, the state funding, is to be able to potentially use our lobbyists to secure some funding through the state. Although we pay the bill for it. And I'm just throwing out ideas on how to do this. We'd like to assist them. With them, they were willing to pay part of his fee in order to be able to use him as a resource to assist us. Obviously not, I think it'd be an ethical for us to, we can't just use our lobbyist for anybody who comes around, but they're willing to piggyback with us and use, assist us in the fee and construct that in some possibility. But I think that would require the approval of the town council to move forward with something like that. And I'm curious as to what the town council, if anybody has any ideas or thoughts on that or sees a problem with that. Certainly would like to help them, any nonprofit out here, but I don't want to have a conflict of interest here either. So does anyone have an objection? We're going to be at least open to having a visit with them and have a meeting with the museum folks. I'm a docent. I'm kind of a I'm a tour guide, but I'm
Would
sort of.
the community coalition lobby group be a better fit? Because
They need somebody who can, he's looking for state, they need like a state grant.
well, that's what they do too. I mean, they lobby the state and the legislature.
Yeah,
Or different organizations. My thought would be, as soon as you do that for one group, then you know,
That's right.
who's gonna come next and how then are we paying lobbyists to do other people's?
right. One, can we afford to allow our lobbyists putting time over there, and two, who pays the bill? I think it's okay if they're supporting, paying a portion of this fee for his time, but I mean, you think that'd be a concern with, if another group came in, this is in the town. This is in the town limits and it's a tourist attraction. It would be, I think it's important for the town. So that's why I'm bringing this up. It'd be much easier, and our lobbyist is pretty damn good. They will get them to direct funding. So that's why I'd like to be able to have him assist them in that.
Well, I guess we need to discuss whether or not we're willing to do that, and then additionally, whether or not, and how much.
Yeah, we
We
have
would
a
be-
current agreement even though.
Yeah, it's not part of the current agreement,
I don't think it's something we can discuss right
Right.
now.
so
I'm just going to put a budget
Yeah.
in here, maybe put on the next agenda or workshop agenda.
I think it might be good for the workshop.
Well,
prior to
and
that,
it
maybe-
might also just be good to ask our lobbyist if that is something that he would even entertain,
Okay.
I saw,
Yeah, that's better than going, oh, by the way.
Ray and I talked about this, and I did, put a bug in Roger's ear. And yeah, he's okay with it, and thinking about ways to make this sort of thing happen. And I had a conversation with Chuck the other day too. I said, the same thing everybody's saying here right now. If we do it for one person, we got to do it for everybody. And that's true. I mean, you can't be giving the tax-paid resources to every nonprofit in town. I mean, it's just not sustainable. So, I was telling Chuck, I was like, you guys need to get much more organized. We need to see a business plan. We need to understand how you're going to benefit the community. It needs to be an investment by the town.
Right.
That's one way to do it, because they're just not in that place right just yet. There's still a lot of build up to do. The other thing was, I thought that maybe he could do a joint contract, or Roger might be able to get his own contract. Well, that
Yeah, like,
Can we
just
just
like
let him
Ray
know?
was saying, just kind of
Can
piggyback
he
off
just
of.
negotiate with them and keep us out of it?
That's an idea too.
I mean, I don't know, let's bring it up to the workshop, let's
That's
not,
why I was saying the community coalition, you'd probably
Yeah.
be able to get things.
So let's do this.
The only problem with community coalitions, they have a very crowded agenda. I do not think the
Yeah.
museum would get much suction over there.
That's my point too. There's gonna be a lot, they're gonna be low on totem pole there. And this is something, I would like to help our town nonprofits out, and it could be anything museums here. I don't think we're gonna have people jumping, standing in line for this, unless they're a nonprofit, but let me do this. One, would everybody have a problem with me arranging for a council tour? Okay, a short, maybe half an hour tour. The one they gave Roger Portman was about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, Paul. Do that all the time. And he came out and then he sat down with them with their board of directors for a while, just talking about this. But if you've never seen Doug Boss' collection, and there's two buildings that there's some stuff that no one's ever seen before, we can get you in there. He's got, it's Smithsonian with begging to get in. You're amazed at what's in there. So I would like to get you all in there, maybe tonight at a workshop for like a half an hour. Do you think that'd be okay? Maybe
Sure.
problem with that?
no, I'm fine with that. You all good with that?
6:30 for a tour? Okay. I'll see if I can set that up and then, we'll go from there. All right?
Yeah. Okay,
Thank
all
you.
right, let's do that, thank you. All right, anybody else with correspondence?
Yeah. On September 20th, I was invited to ribbon cutting ceremony and open house at the Washington County Public Safety Training Center.
Oh,
That's very nice. If y'all get a chance, you can go shoot over and see it. So,
thanks, Ricky. Anybody else? Okay, we will move on to the police department report. Chief?
Alrighty, for the month of September, we had 86 calls for service, and we had 79 contacted traffic violations. And on the 29th, we had a juvenile damaging a park again.
Oh, no.
So what we've done with him so far is we've banned him from the park for the next 30 days and forwarded reports to juvenile service, waiting on their decision what they want to do with him, if they want to take him criminally or not. It'll be up to them.
Okay.
But anyway, we caught the person doing it, and he'll have to make restitution when we can with that damage. And then during the month of September, myself and Officer Christmas no longer with us, and Officer Ballesteros, we assisted with the food truck. And then Brian Christmas' last day was on the 5th, and then Officer Davis' first day was on the 20th after she completed her FTO. And then myself and Sergeant McKenzie and Officer Davis with Zoomberg days. And then myself and Officer McKenzie and Officer Ballesteros, Davis did a 911 parade, and I attended the Marion County. Yeah, pretty much the gist of it.
Okay. Anything new developed with our car in Greystone Hills, or has that been quiet?
Well, I've been away for the last 2 weeks, so I can't tell you.
Okay.
And Amy's out sick, but I'm gonna stop in today to pick the boulder up. She wasn't there. But I haven't heard any more complaints.
I haven't gotten any complaints either, so I'm not sure.
Maybe if I mean, we sat there a lot.
I know.
You know, I mean, we was there constantly just sitting. So maybe the word finally got to him that, hey, they have to start down and get some sense here.
Okay.
You know, I mean, if it picks back up, we're starting to start sitting in there again.
Well, I hadn't heard anything, so
Yeah.
good. Okay. Anybody else have any questions of the chief? All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Your Ravine Academy doing well?
Yeah, he's doing, but as far as I know, I mean, I haven't heard anything first couple of weeks. After that, everything's been going fine. Get him through and get him trained up. And actually, I'm going to an FTO training. I've been since 1982. Been a chief here. I still got to do this FTO program to teach somebody how to be a police officer. So I found instead of making West do it all the time, I want to get them signed up for it. It's free. It's not costing anything. It's 3 days that I've got to spend learning how to teach somebody. And I was FTO for the county, but they wouldn't accept that. Just Maryland Police Training Commission. So you got to go through their 3-day class.
Once in 40 years. Did it already pass your 40 years?
I've been a police officer for 40 years. I mean, it doesn't matter. They still have to do it. So it's Maryland Police Training Commission. We have no control over them. So.
The pressures aren't always that bad. I mean, the pressures aren't always that bad.
I mean, it's not, I haven't done it. It seems kind of stupid that a chief cannot tell one of his subordinates how to be a police officer. But it is what it is. Anyway, 3 days, I think 2 weeks in a month. That's just like I said, it doesn't burden Westwood so much because when Tom gets out, he's out and he's got almost 5 months of FTO that he has to do. But he's not been a police officer anywhere.
Right.
So instead of kicking him with West, and he's gonna get one officer's view of how to be a police officer.
This way you
You'll
don't
have,
have.
yeah.
Okay, good.
Nice.
Anybody else? All right, well, thank you, chief.
Yes, sir.
You're welcome to
Can I
stay.
go back to vacation?
Yes.
Sure.
See you, folks.
All right, thank you. Okay, so next is under new business is the Boonesboro Municipal Utilities Commission amended billing policy. We had that sent out to you all early on, and hopefully you had a chance to review that. I would like to preface the amended policy by adding that the BMUC respectfully requests to implement the policy sooner than later, hopefully by January 1st of 2023. We just started a billing quarter, so it wouldn't be a way to do it, but it just wouldn't make sense. And if we do the January 1, 2023 start date, then we have plenty of time for notification. Under the water sewer charges, in item number 1, we had it highlighted in yellow for you. The verbiage is a fixed fee is a charge for an on-demand service paid by each household for the space or allocation it takes up in the system. A household is defined as all people who occupy a single housing unit, regardless of their relationship to one another. Then continued on in the next paragraph. For multi-household residential property sharing a single water meter, and that's the key there is the single water meter, a fixed fee will be applied to each household residing at the service location. Multi-household properties contain multiple units or households within a single residential structure and or a multiple residential structure serviced by one water meter. The verbiage goes on and none of that verbiage changed. The thing that we did add is that we're going to add the section where we have the chart that shows how the water usage charge is based on the amount of water. It's currently, we have 2 tiers. We have the 0 to 18,000 gallons. And then we have the second tier, which is 18,001 gallons and above. So the chart that would be accompanying this would state how the 2 units would be built out. Their first tier would be 0 to 36,000 gallons, and their second tier would be 36,001 and above. The next one would be for 3, and then of course it shows one for 10. The calculations are the same. It's just simply multiplying however many units, fixed fees are there times the 18,000 to get your first tier, and then anything above that would be the second tier. So those are the 2 concerns that we had, that when we originally put the policy out, there was the question of whether or not the system, the software was able to do this, this tiered billing for multiple fixed fees on one water meter. That certainly has been tested, and the system is perfectly capable, and it would be able to be implemented on January 1, 2023. So, does anybody have any questions?
Well, I would like to address the response to the questions that I was asked. First off, I'm not sure why I was the only one asked to submit questions. I mean, I was not the only one that voted no. I am disappointed with the answers that were returned to me. The staff is telling me that I had asked about advance notice being given and retroactive, and I was being told it's a billing correction. But clearly it's always been referred to in the minutes as a rate study and a policy change. And billing correction would not have had to have a change in the policy, which is clearly what we voted on and then changed. And the letter to the customer states a notice of change of rates and fees. And I don't think that it's unreasonable to give customers an advance notice of a change in rates and fees. And looking at our policy, we don't specifically require that. So maybe that's something to add to the Boonsboro Municipal Utility commissions, like we have a billing process. It doesn't require any notice of a rate change. Maybe that's something that we need to
Okay, so
include in there.
if we did a rate change, it would have to be a public hearing. So that would be the notification, as we've done in the past. So it's not just.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Well, I'm just
maybe it's
answering the
something that
question.
needs to be
Yeah.
put in there that we will give, advance notice for rate change, since it's not clearly defined. My next question was, I'd asked for the specific numbers of service locations. My answer was that the council had this information since March of 2021. I believe maybe they meant March of 2022, but again, the exact number of households was never included in the minutes. The question had been asked and a variety of numbers have been thrown out, but never an exact answer. When I asked about the anticipated quarterly gain and revenue, the numbers given is 187 at the rate of 15, not 177 as was given in the previous question, and it does not take into account the usage deduction. So again, I did not get accurate information when asked. Then it was stated that we chose undue administrative burden was chosen over the customer equity, and customer equity was what we were trying to fix with the billing policy. So that has me a little troubled. And I was not uninterested in the project or uninvolved in the project. I was specifically asked not to attend a public meeting. So it's not my disinterest in the project. It's not my non-understanding of the project. It was my disagreement of the policy and how we have moved forward. It's definitely not a lack of understanding. I believe maybe the workshops are where we need to get back to having more of this debate and discussion and getting our answers so that we're not at this point in the future. Secondly, I asked a question about addressing the costs, and then my answer was what cost? Well, I clearly asked about fixed costs, and fixed costs are constant costs, their salaries, their benefits, their insurance, their utilities. Again, then there was noted that Councilmember Kearns insisted subsidies to the sewer fund and general fund be considered loans. This isn't Councilmember Kearns, this is general accounting accepted practice, it's GAAP. And then again, a complete and thorough analysis and due diligence should have given me the answer when I asked what other municipalities and are the county doing this. I didn't get an answer to that. I just got a CERCAP definition. And again, this is a change to the policy because we previously billed by each connection, and we're changing that. So spinning it to say this is a billing correction and showing animosity to customers, I just don't believe that's professional.
Okay, I disagree with showing animosity to any customer or resident. That was never anything that I perceived. We had a very spirited debate, but it was not directed at anybody other than us. So I take exception with that.
Well, I've had customers.
Okay. As far as the
I guess we gotta go through it one by one. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
Well, I'm disappointed that first you shared that entirely for the public, so then this makes me again have to address this. Because if you're gonna share things with the public, that is disinformation. I should clearly have the right then to state what's correct and what's not correct.
okay. So for the record then, what is this information?
Clearly, it's not a billing correction, it's a change of policy. I mean, the previous policy was per connection, is how we billed, and we wish to change
I
that.
think it was a billing correction spurred the need for a new.
No, it wasn't a billing correction, it's a change of policy based on the law.
Saying no, but that's what happened.
No, it's not.
Yes.
okay, we'll have to agree to disagree on terminology because we're not
For
going
the
to change.
record, we noticed an issue with our billing. In order to correct that, we needed to amend our policy to be very clear.
Okay, again, that's where we're at. If it's a billing correction, it's, hey, I multiplied your bill wrong, and you send a customer letter and you correct it, it doesn't require a change in policy. This is clearly a change in policy, so it's a change to, it's not, it's a correction or updating of the policy to more accurate current times or more CERCAP definitions, but it's a change to the billing policy, which required, advance notice and public meetings.
Would this help perhaps, a lot more on here? One of the things that I did think about after the BUC was the letters that went to the customers originally didn't have the new mathematical 18 times 18 in the case of Mr. Wright. So I think, as Tony said there, another letter to the customers that then had that explained, because they wouldn't know that. You follow what I'm saying?
Yes.
The letter only had the first policy in it. So I don't know if that addresses exactly what Mary Lee's talking about, but.
I don't think so. I think she's talking about something else.
Yeah.
I don't, but that would clarify for.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to be adding the the tier chart, yes, the tier chart with this letter, so that there's a clear understanding of how the fixed fee will affect any multi-household dwelling.
And then going forward, as you know, Tammy, we'll probably be implementing more tiers. So we'll have to have another example when we have those more tiers. Like we have the
Yes.
policy now.
Yes.
So that's clear. I mean, I told Paul, he did a good job writing it, but we've had all the benefit of the conversation and the customer hasn't, and maybe a chart would be helpful, so that's why we ended up with the chart. And just some examples, it wasn't like all 20, you know, just a couple of examples. I don't know if that helps address.
And the only other thing that I could say is that,
We didn't change our policy, we clarified.
right, I think it's just a clarification of the policy because it was too vague in the past. And in order for us to make it able to be understood, we had to add the new verbiage.
Right, because the old verbiage was based on the. It's just how it's
No, that's
turned out.
It was,
That's incorrect.
it was based on a connection, you're right, but it was also an error that was never caught until we did this.
But that's also a way that can be done. That's one of the defined ways for being able to do it. You can do it by connection. Just we've decided to change that.
That's not what Circo said.
Well, that's what you've gotten both read in my answer, so that, that can be one of the ways that they're charged.
So
By connection, by volume, by fixtures.
I quoted both the American Water and Wastewater
Okay,
Association.
so maybe it's their definition.
Their definition is clear that the meters are all the households behind a single meter should be counted independently. As far as fixed fees go, they're very clear about it. So,
Well, I think.
CERCAC gives a really good definition of what a fixed fee is. They call it a customer charge. It is something that each connection pays for space or allocation it takes up in the system. So even if a customer turns off the water and goes elsewhere for a whole quarter or quarters, they pay this charge as the price of maintaining their connection and the availability of water, whenever used or not.
That's back to a connection. So if you don't have multiple connections, it's a connection. So
But it's
there, I understand
still,
we're changing that, but it's the same. I
We're not changing.
this spin of.
No, see, that's wrong.
No, it's not wrong.
It's
It
not.
it is not a billing correction. It's a change of policy and it's a change of way we're doing it. A billing correction doesn't happen for 30 years.
if it's not,
We'll
if
just
it's
have
not
to agree
ever,
to
if it's not ever
We'll
seen.
just have to agree to
Yeah.
disagree.
Yeah.
The letter to the customers does not say it's a billing correction. It says it's a revised billing policy. And we voted on it. And again, it was never referred to as billing correction in the minutes for the BNUC or at the mayor's house. I went back and read that.
I'll just say that we discover a lot of these errors, clerical errors, just improper management of policy, all the sort. But usually it doesn't have such a large effect on the rest of the system.
Right.
And we did talk about this in March 2021.
Again, but those minutes did not give me a clear number of how many customers were affected. That was the question.
I remember
That was
specifically
simply it.
saying.
It was
how
not
many
in the
customers-
minutes. It was not in the minutes. And again, if in March of 2021 was the number, and then we missed Reinhart's apartments, obviously that number has changed between March of 2020 and now. So
I don't
it's
see why the numbers are going to change a lot.
Right.
It's likely that.
Again, it was a question asked, or you asked me my questions, I gave them. I respectfully asked for a nice answer, period. So let's just move on. I've
Okay.
given you my rebuttal.
Okay.
I'm very disappointed in what I received.
So Tony, if I could, when the vote went down the last time,
Yes.
I spoke on two things that were on my mind. And I would like to say that both of those things have been answered and resolved.
Okay.
The first one was, I didn't like the way the BNUC had done this through email. without the benefit of conversation. Well, that's now been done, you were sure.
Sure.
Okay, and number two was my concern about the system. Did the system handle this? And I think that came to light even more, my question, when I asked about putting the example chart in there. And then in the BMUC, we discussed if, for example, we move from 1 to 5,000 gallons, or 501 to 10, when we introduce more tiers, then that'll have to be, again, taken care of in the system. And I'm been told that that's no problem, and I'll believe what Paul and staff said.
Correct.
So those were my two concerns. So they, for the benefit of everyone here, and they, but the two things that I brought up have been resolved to my satisfaction.
Okay.
And that's what I was looking at.
Okay.
And again, I would still be more in favor of us addressing all of the changes to our policy at once. Again,
We are in the process of beginning the commercial side, Mary Lee. It's just not feasible to do it that way. To do it this staggered way that we're doing right now is going to be the most
well, again,
sensible.
here's, as a business person, a commercial account can more easily and readily react to changes because they can mark up their goods, because a customer can choose or not choose. A landlord has leases and contracts that are not able to update and change them as readily. So again.
And that's why we moved the implementation date out to January 1 now.
But see, but Mary, what does that mean, that we should lean more heavily on commercial than on landlords?
Well, why are we leaning heavily on any individual? Why aren't we just, I thought this was about getting it equitable.
It is.
Equitable should be to all.
It is.
A resident, a landlord, a commercial
And
business.
to be
It should be
clear,
equitable to all. So if we're changing the policy to be equitable, why wouldn't we do that and see because as you go to change the commercial policies, you may find another better way to encompass all of this.
Well, for one, Mary Lee, staff only has a certain amount of bandwidth. I mean, we've only got so much to work with. We're working on a lot of different projects. The way to.
But I thought there was a
commercial
BNC
side-
task force that was willing to put some hours into doing this.
What?
I thought there was a task force that was willing to put some hours
That
into.
was
to
that
doing
was
this.
tap fee task force. So there's a difference between tap fees and fixed fees.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay. So that was the tap fee task force.
Well, you're talking about the water loss task force, aren't you?
We've got lots of task
Yeah,
forces.
we have
I don't really
No,
remember tap fee.
Eric and I were working on a billing policy, the whole overall overhaul of everything.
Yeah, I don't remember,
I don't remember it happening.
It was, I was on it, it was Bob Sweeney was on it, you were on it. And we figured that out, we got that
So,
working.
I'm right now, I'm right there.
But that was before.
But to circle back to what we have on our plate tonight. It is a change to correct errors in the system. And that we would like to move forward with a implementation date of January 1st of 2023. I would like to make a motion based on the VMUC's recommendation that we accept this change, and I'll entertain a second.
hey, I'll second it if I find my notes here.
Well,
Okay.
it's Robert's Rules of Order, since you're acting as presiding chair.
I'm the liaison to the VMUC, so, I mean, I can step back and not do that, but I figured with my role as VMUC that I should do that. And I'm only stepping in because the mayor's not here. And I still have,
I'm not
I don't know about
parliamentary,
Robert's
but
rules.
I normally the chairman.
Okay, I'll take my motion back if Eric wants to
And
make a
again,
motion.
stating this as a billing correction really irritates me because it's a change to our billing policy. Clearly, what was implemented in the software, and what we've been doing is for connection.
That's
And we
not clearly
decided
what's
to
happening,
change
and
that.
I can tell you why you're wrong.
Well, I.
At other locations in the system, other apartment buildings are being billed correctly. It's, there are several locations in the billing system now that pay
That's
a
a new
fixed
and
fee.
different issue that's just now being told. That's
It's not an
definitely a new
issue.
and
What do you mean
different
it's-
issue.
it's not an issue?
If we're billing
If
for
it's being
some.
billed correctly, that's why we're saying there are so many errors that we're trying to correct in the system. That's not,
That's new and different information.
I don't even know what that means.
but it's being billed correctly in lieu of the ones that
Not
aren't.
really, because our policy before was per connection.
No, that's not true.
No, that's not true. We only updated the verbiage, said that it was very, very
Again,
clear.
so if the verbiage in there about fees not being for more than one connection, then clearly the policy before was per connection.
I think I'm starting to get a headache and I understand. Let me ask this. Suppose it doesn't matter what we call it. Does it matter how we have to pass it or implement it or have a public hearing or not, depending on what we call it? I'm not sure why we're debating what we call it other than opinions.
Well, if it's changing the billing policy, it's not required for a public hearing. That's-
Well, so part of what we want to do here, part of the implementation plan is I'd like to see the VMUC come up with another letter to the customers stating the effective date, when they'll see it on their bills. That
It
sort
would
of
be nice to
thing.
get that out there,
And so
but no matter what.
Yeah.
I guess where I'm going is what do we call it? What do they want to call it on this letter to the customers? Because the letter also now has to include the new multiplier.
Well, I think it's first gonna have to discuss that the policy passed in June was repealed.
It was true because we've already had calls
Yes.
wanting to know, I thought my bill was going up and it did. So that's a good point.
So the policy that was passed in June was repealed.
Yeah.
The policy has also been modified slightly to accommodate multi-household usage. And we'll do a clear definition, just like we did on the policy itself. And just like on the first letter, which demonstrated how many fixed fees they were paying and then how many they would be paying with the new policy, they would also get the same charted explanation for usage.
I actually got that script down here on this note, but you didn't get to the notes. So, I mean, that's part of the motion that I want to make, that we implement this effective January 1 for the bills to go out March 31. The VMUC forms a new letter explaining the things that we talked about. Some of this stuff wrote down here. And we are not at this time talking about phasing this in. We may be talking about that when we get to the new tiering, but that might even be next fiscal year or beyond. We don't even know yet.
When we talk about phasing in, we're talking about building up to
Right,
being
right,
cost neutral.
right. Yeah, and that's another whole discussion I'll have written down here, this thing, we keep debating about full cost recovery versus recovering fixed fees, because that's entirely different.
Yeah.
So, does that make sense for a motion or not, Tony?
I believe so. I believe so. So Eric has a motion on the floor, basically to accept the amended policy that you have before you with the start date of January 1, 2023, with the BMUC participating with the letter being written and the new tier structure to be included. And as Mary Lee stated, we'd like to get them out by November the 1st, which we meet in just a week or two.
We'll get them out in the next couple of weeks.
And we can definitely make that happen. So with that,
Yes, it's not the new tier structure, Tony, it's the new tier
Well,
multiplier.
the new tier multiplier,
Yeah,
yes.
But Kim's trying to get all this in.
Yeah, good luck.
I think you're getting like,
So if that motion is understood, I'll entertain a second.
I'll second.
Okay. Are there any other additional questions? If there are no questions, then I'll ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye. Now, with Robert's Rules of Orders, I guess I'm not allowed to vote, so I'm not sure. I'm just saying.
I'm not sure.
You were,
So let's do- let's do-
officiating, you were officiating in lieu of the mayor. But you do have, I would say, do a roll call vote.
Yeah, so let's do a roll call vote. Ray?
Aye.
Ricky?
Aye.
Eric? Marilyn?
No.
Okay, Terry? Aye. Okay, so the vote passes 4-1. I'll abstain. Okay? I think that's over and done with. The next thing under new business is a recommendation to set the homestead credit cap based on the constant yield tax rate for fiscal year 2014. I don't know if y'all read any of that, went through any of that. Basically, I pulled up where we are currently. Mary Lee, you may have some additional knowledge on this. It's nothing that I've ever been involved
The
with
homestead
before.
credit cap is totally separate from constant yield.
It is. But in the information that was sent out, I made a copy of Washington County.
We have Brian's online with us.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
And
Brian.
we're currently at 5%. There are some counties, or there are some municipalities in Washington County that charge a different rate. There isn't anybody in our local area that does. I don't know that we've ever changed it in
I
years.
don't know that we've ever changed it either. The state gives a 10%. So basically what the homestead credit does is, when the reassessments get phased into your property, it caps the amount your home's value can increase in a single year.
Per year, right?
Yes, single year, so that you don't get tax bills that tax you out of your home if you've been living in an area and have an overhome and
Right.
new growth and expansive housing comes in and starts to come to that area. Then the state of Maryland gives you a 10% tax break on real estate value up to 300,000. And Washington County gives a 5%. And municipalities are allowed to give,
Okay. And what brought all this on was this email that we got. And, responding back and just trying to figure out. So it's going to begin July 1st, 2023. And of course, if you read through there, it can be changed if it need to be. Different process to do that, but it's been 5% for
I
a
would
while.
also believe if we change it, we would maybe have to then computer our tax bills. I'm not sure if the county would be able to do that for us.
So I'm 100% in favor of just letting it alone at 5%. I have no reason to reevaluate it. I don't know if we need to make a motion on this.
I would make a motion to keep our homestead tax credit as it is unchanged.
At 5%. Okay, you got that, Kim? Mary Lee just made a motion to continue our homestead tax credit at 5%. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, any other questions?
There was something about, something I read that staff couldn't give you a list or something.
That's Brian.
Yeah.
That was pretty crazy.
I know.
They can't do a simple query.
Yeah,
It would probably be massive.
so.
Well, but still. it's-
Yeah.
But I mean, even with that in consideration, I mean, if we're not changing it, yeah. Okay, so any other questions? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Brian, hear that?
Yes, he gave me a thumbs up.
All right. Okay. Next on the agenda under new business is the JFK 50-miler starting line commemoration. I'm gonna give that to Paul.
Well, actually, Mary Lee passed this on to us the other day. And I guess your friend is on the JFK board.
Yeah.
And found out that it was their 60th anniversary. So got with my good buddy Stu, and he offered to free design to commemorate the starting line. It's just going to be like an inset on either side of the starting line on the sidewalk. The starting line, the official starting line is almost right in between Stoneworks and Subway. So that we had a location marked on either side. Stu put together these designs. We reached out to Dan Spedden at the,
Hagerstown.
Tourism.
they pledged a third of the cost. EDC wants to pledge another third of the cost. And Dan said he knows of a grant where we could get the third.
Well,
So,
the JFK group also has money.
okay.
Would they be willing to participate?
That's what I'm saying, I don't want. Like Tyler Thornbaker was.
Yeah, I was wondering that too. I mean,
Yeah,
they
he
should have
paid
sponsorship
on it
and,
because they have
money.
from the
Okay.
registration fees.
Mhm.
So
I think they should pay the last third. then.
I mean, I wasn't even like, I don't know that I was even suggesting we fund this. I'm just-
No, I don't think we were looking to fund it either, Marilee. We were looking to get it paid for without town resources, and I happen to have an appointment with Tyler tomorrow, so I'll bring it up. So other than the presentation part of it right now, what else do you need us to do?
If you just want to approve, I guess, the cost and the, assuming that we're going to be able to get a grant, and then a third of the cost out of JFK. And then the EDC was going to look into doing a budget amendment, to pay for the last third.
Okay, well, you said the EDC, the.
EDC, JFK, and the Hagerstown, what was it again? Tourism.
CVB.
And a grant, and maybe Tyler, so we might have it covered in the.
Yeah, we do. We got that.
Yeah, okay, all right, so, if everybody understands what we're doing and where the,
No, tell me.
okay, so the memorial bricks, right, or plaques, it's, yeah,
That's strong.
are gonna be actually embedded into the sidewalk. Yeah,
Not a state fund.
It's like a concrete inset. Embedded in that is.
Whatever.
So the official starting line,
Very
we have
nice.
matching one over on the other side,
Mhm.
and then that's the logo for this race.
Okay.
They're the oldest ultra marathon in the United States.
and it's been started here ever since its inception,
Yeah.
so it's pretty cool that.
So with this, is there time to get this all done before the jam?
No, this
I was
this
gonna
is
say
all
this-
out,
Yeah.
but Stu did get us a quote on 2 temporary signs that we can install for the time of the race. These aren't gonna be available.
They're weeks out.
Castings aren't, the moldings aren't gonna be available until like January, February, and we wouldn't be able to do the install until March or April.
Till the fall,
So,
till the
But
fall.
there'll be some type of dedication though.
Yeah.
once it's-
Yeah.
So if we're not in a rush, I mean, have you gone to the JFK committee, like, do they like?
yes,
I
we've been
guess
working
they're
with
okay
them. And we work with the EDC.
Yeah, this would be nice for their anniversary.
It's very nice.
So it's their 60th anniversary this
This year. Yeah, this is their 60th. This will just be a late
That's why we're
recognition.
not in a rush.
Yeah. So did you get a price on the temporary? Did you? I didn't see
Yeah, it was
that.
like $400.
And what does the temporary do? Is it just signed to go up or it's nothing in the grant?
Right, it's just gonna be,
I think I gave it to you. So-
I didn't,
I don't have, I missed that. It's okay.
I'm sorry. I don't remember seeing it. Oh, that's okay.
It's okay.
It's just a temporary sign. I mean, Stu, he always does a great job. He, he does all the artwork for free, so. If I find it, I'll text it to you.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
So, I guess we'd like to get a motion then, based on the funding being covered 100%, maybe we can roll that temporary sign into just another $400.
Yeah.
Um,
I plan to, because we are gonna be doing, Stu wants us to be able to use his artwork, and then we are doing the install, so those, well, Stu's cost isn't a sunk cost, but the public works cost is a sunk cost. That's gonna be part of our match, so
Okay,
the, the dollar amount's gonna be made up on the other end by Dan Spedden and by JFK, so. So we're not gonna pay a real third.
so I'll entertain a motion that we move forward with the 60th anniversary memorial that we will be able to have installed hopefully by next spring. Have a second? Okay, I have a second. Any other discussion?
A little hesitant when we haven't put a dollar cap or that's where we're getting the funding. I would rather the motion than, provided funding is obtained.
Okay, and we can add that. We
We're
can add
talking
it.
that.
Yeah, we were talking that, yeah.
Because we don't have a commitment from JFK, but I'm pretty sure.
So we'll amend the motion to include secured funding by the other parties that we discussed. Okay.
And I'll second that amendment.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, next on the agenda is going to be Paul. It's the MDE Drinking Water Revolving Fund comment letters, which were included with your packet. And Paul just wants to give you a little bit of a background on what that's all about and why we included it.
So this is something that we're working really hard to make happen. Everybody knows that we talked a little bit about this last week. Everybody knows we're not eligible for MDE grants and loan forgiveness. We are working really hard though to get MDE to adopt ARC's eligibility criteria, especially since they are looking to expand their own. And so in the process, we were reaching out to elected officials for letters of support. We sent in the comment letters provided to you. I mean, this means this could mean a lot. If we are found eligible for this, for one, the EPA is about to give Maryland and MDE over $800 million in water, wastewater, and stormwater infrastructure grant funding. Well, grant loan and grant and loan fund. And, unless we can make them change their criteria, we're not going to be eligible for grants for any of it. And that's just not fair. So what we're trying to do is get them to change their criteria, consider us as we are part of Appalachia with our own unique economic issues. And so that's kind of the crux of it. But also, if, I don't know what could be done retroactively if they decide that we are eligible. Maybe we can get some loan forgiveness on some of our older loans. Who knows?
So it's just a continuation of how we keep trying to stay involved, how we keep trying to find more avenues of funding and to get that funding to come into our account so that we can continue to fund these large projects. And we look at everything that we can do to do that. And Paul does a good job with that, so thank you.
Yep, ARC's on board. Trone's writing us a letter. I asked Weigel to write us a letter also. Orderman said he was going to actually call MDE and talk to Director Fretwell and Assistant Secretary Dodson. I think Van Hollen's going to send a letter for us. So, this thing is starting to pick up steam. ARC itself, Dave Cotton, the state director, is on board, and he helped put this letter together. He can't provide a letter of support for obvious reasons. So hopefully we can make this happen. This isn't going to be big just for us. This is going to be big for the entire county, and all of Appalachia. So.
Okay. All right. Moving on, we have the commission reports, and we'll start with the park board. Ricky?
Well, hello there. Meeting started out with approved couple people, one of them was named Becky Fry. She walked in and asked if she could rent the park, Kim should know this.
Yes,
uh,
a squishmallow party.
Yeah, 5:30 to 7:30, but for a thing called a squishmallow. It's a squishmallow swap. And roughly 50 to 60 people would be there. She says the rage of the kids love this stuff.
What are
I'm talking about teenage kids.
What are they saying? The squid?
No, they're these kind of round, stuffy, like pillows.
Oh, okay.
And they have like cute little faces and designs and stuff like that. And they're super, super squishy. And apparently, I thought it was just like people like to collect them, but apparently they like trade them and have whole things with them. I don't know. Brian looked it up online and it's really a thing. So.
I was gonna say, it reminds me of God.
Yeah.
I never knew about it, so.
I mean, my grandkids have a couple of them, but I just thought it was just something that, you buy. But apparently people trade them and all sorts of stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
so we're having a squishmallow party in the park.
October 21st.
Yep.
Roughly 50 to 60 kids are gonna be there.
Cool.
Yeah.
The NFL's gonna have, you know,
And
squishy
we're gonna
balls and
have-
have
yeah.
concussion.
Yeah. They talked about the trail being approved, the final phase down there. They were talking about maybe smoothing out the bank a little bit instead of having that rough looking thing going down. After the trail is completed. The tree board had their meeting about, they talked about their 156 trees planting around the town, 30 around the library, and talked about the giveaway this past Saturday. The concert series is over, movie nights is over. Hubcap's canceled they're looking for a spring concert.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it just didn't fit in with.
Yeah, and under new business, it's the Cruise for Kids is gonna have a rally down at the park on October 23rd. Rain date is the 30th from 10 to 5. Appalachian Trail Commission requested a park board member to serve, and from where I was sitting, my vantage point, it's safe to say that nobody's interested. Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, volunteer hours are for, they talked about volunteer hours for the National Honor Society at the school. Talked about bulk pickup, talked about the tree giveaway, talked about winterizing the park on November 1st or sooner. It depends on when it starts to freeze. And they discussed about maybe taking the Bourne Learning Trail signs down. Because they haven't been. And they started discussion with Old Town Christmas, which will be December 2nd, 6:30. And the next meeting is October 26th at 7 o'clock, right here.
So they're taking they want to take the signs down just for winter?
Yes,
Okay.
every year they're supposed to, under the March of Dimes or guide from their, that was one of the stipulations, was to take them down.
Okay.
And they're starting to show where. And maybe that's probably why they haven't been taken down. Okay, that's it.
Okay. Any other questions, Ricky? Okay. Moving on with the BMUC Commission. The BMUC last met on the September the 29th. Under updates, the wastewater sludge press building permit application was submitted on 9/29. Ongoing reviews for stormwater continue. MDE construction permit was approved. Work will begin on the MDE sludge treatment permit. The rotary press and the wheel loader purchase is complete. Both are due to arrive in November or December. The advanced metering infrastructure, Keysville wasn't included on the original proposal, so we revised that proposal and re-executed it. And we hope to have a kickoff meeting to happen soon. Alternate 40 water line looping. There's an invitation to complete a full ARC application for $200,000. We do need a preliminary engineering report to do that, and we tasked our vendor with that, and that's due November the 18th. The DWSRF, the MDE Drinking Water State Revolving Fund. We are income ineligible for grants currently, which we all just heard. We just talked about that with the letters that we put out. We're working with ARC to lobby MDE to adopt ARC's eligibility criteria. So hopefully that will come through. Schaefer Park well replacement. Paul and Pete met with Phillips Well Drilling to locate the site for the new well. The Keysville Booster Station pressure reduction, digital pressure loggers have been received. They'll be deployed as soon as possible. Reservoir replacement, the Water Resources Development Act, including $5 million we applied for, passed the House and the Senate, is currently in committee and hopefully going to be heading to the president's desk soon. MDE MS4 annual report is due the end of October. Paul will have a draft for our October meeting. Ours being the BMUC's, not ours here. Stormwater, GSI modeling and tree inventory. Council approved the bid to begin the GSI modeling, and Paul was working to tie up some loose ends, and the kickoff meeting will be scheduled soon. Under new business, the Crestview Water Treatment Plant demo, BMUC has decided to keep the existing easement where it is, remove the blacktop and plant grass. We'll continue to update the Crestview HOA as this project moves forward, and that was in our budget for $80,000. BMUC charter amendment, working on a draft amendment to include commission members that are out-of-town customers in good standing and or business owner whose business is located in town to be permitted to serve with voting rights. Also, an at-large member is being considered without voting rights, but would have extensive water sewer knowledge. All of these would be vetted by the BMUC and recommended to the mayor and council for approval like we always do. This is only in the draft state. Amended water sewer billing proposal. The BMUC proposed the amended changes attached to these minutes to include new verbiage along with the chart showing the examples of different tiers of usage for multi-household customers. Staff is also currently in the process of completing an audit on all the commercial customers as well. Under systems report, the water sewer plant has no concerns. Currently, everything is operating as normal. They're still working on changing out those 800 diffuser tubes at this point. It's very time consuming, but Pete's moving along. Under public works, they stated that there's no concerns, things are going well. They did need to put out a RFP for the routine leak detection. Also, the BMUC approved the purchase of the digital pressure loggers to facilitate public works leak detections internally, which we already heard that that's moving along. And the town manager's report, we had another resident with an illicit discharge off of Lake Avenue. They were emptying salt water from their swimming pool into the stormwater. The problem was corrected and the report has been sent to MDE. Our next meeting is October the 19th at 6 o'clock. Any questions of Tony? Hearing none, we'll move on to the Planning Commission.
Oh my goodness, I need to start taking better notes. So we did meet this cycle, and the meeting was basically just to bring our two new members up to speed with kind of what's on the plate. One of the new members didn't show up, so
That's a good sign.
that was not a good sign. So first on the agenda, they talked about 50 St. Paul Street, which is basically up St. Paul Street, and you go around the turn there, right beside Steve Jameson's house, all the way over to the top of Lake Avenue Extended. Someone's purchased that property, kind of runs all the time, because the house is already there. They want to do a 5-lot subdivision, and I think they just kind of talk about it, but the plans may be just in the thinking stages right now, I'd say. Ace Hardware out here just before we get to the circle between Evie's and Thompson's. That's moving along as quickly as it can move along. Ace Hardware with some storage units from behind there. Dunkin' Donuts, again, we're just bringing our new member up to date of things that are planned out here. at the old Styles Farm on the other side of the circle. That's moving along. Campus Avenue, I think we're all kind of up to date on that, and then Paul gets more information on that, but it's moving along at a snail's pace. I asked about what's going on with the post office. And it seems the work has stopped on the post office for the time being, and there's some speculation why, but I guess that's gonna be looked into. Maybe Riley is gonna make some phone calls. Okay, so I didn't hear back on that, but I think there's something maybe going to happen there in the near future. What else? The same gentleman came in and gave his presentation about the proposed campground, and I wrote it down, so I thought this was very interesting. He said it was going to be 30 acres. That night, tonight he said 13. So I'm not sure where the difference is there. And he did sort of throw out there that night that, well, I only need to buy one tap from the town. Well, I think he's far proud of that.
He's highly wrong.
And they did talk about, they've done the, I guess, the RFP for the comprehensive plan. They got no responses. And that was at 25K. So I think they were gonna possibly come to us and ask for some additional funding to put it out again.
Plus, we're gonna wait till Riley gets back from maternity leave.
Okay. So unless Paul can correct me on all that, that's what I had jotted down there.
Just that Riley reached out to the postmaster to find out what was going on. The deal is still on, it's just taking a very.
Okay. Well, so that is it.
And no news on the Chinese restaurant?
That was not discussed in the meeting, and I don't know a thing about the Chinese restaurant.
I ate at their Brunswick one over the weekend, and their food's pretty good.
Did you ask him?
So they're the ones that have the restaurant by Weiss in Brunswick. Yeah,
Did you ask him when they're gonna open?
no, they were very busy.
That's a good sign.
Yeah.
They're very busy.
Any questions of Eric? Okay, moving on with the Public Safety Commission, Marlene.
We did not meet.
What?
Everyone was sick.
Yeah.
Oh.
They got sick and canceled, so
Oh.
we'll meet Thursday, October.
Okay, all right, that was short and sweet. Did anybody fill in for Ray at the Economic Division?
There was one.
Well, okay,
The last one was 19, was the 15th, and we had a meeting after this already. Next one's gonna be October 26th.
okay, all right. Environmental Commission, Terry?
We met on the 13th of September, possible pollinator garden, maybe Canode Circle, but they would need to have it approved by the Canode residents. They're also talking about,
just tickled him.
they're also talking about maybe putting it in Sycamore Run, the development there where the retention pond is. The pollinator gardens are really pretty. They talked about, they were giving away, and I don't know if you got any milkweed plants when you got your tree. They were gonna give away.
I got a lot of
30.
lip from somebody down there at the park. Her name was Yvette. That's all I got when I got my tree.
So- Well, they were supposed to purchase,
I went later.
There was milkweed.
there was,
Yes, they might have been called when I
All
got
right.
there.
Yeah, I think they only had like 30 or 50 of them. They didn't
I
have a
was
whole
like
bunch.
several hours in.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was there, when I was there.
Snooze you lose.
Yeah, that's okay.
that's really about all. We were supposed to have a meeting tomorrow, but she's sick, so we're not gonna meet again until November 8th.
All right, any questions of Terry? All right, Riley, you're up.
She is home resting.
So,
She's got a lot of work ahead of her.
so
She's
she's
taking
out
it
now
easy.
on maternity?
No,
Oh,
no, she's still coming into the office.
Oh, okay.
We're just being gentle with her.
oh, well, yeah, that's fine. Okay. I did have a question of Riley that, when y'all see her, there was a question about the property that, somehow fronts Main Street, but it's also next to Stu Mullendor's house. It was the same property with all the vehicles that finally got cleaned up.
Oh,
There's been a, ongoing concern with the weeds
Hmm.
I know that she has had conversation with the homeowner, but we're being asked, are we just gonna step in, do the work and charge the homeowner because they're not doing it? So,
Riley's working with that homeowner.
Yeah.
I forget her name, is it Summers? Is the last name?
I can't think,
It
maybe,
was the Summers property, I don't know.
I think it still is. I think it's owned by,
That name, yeah.
owned by the daughter now, and Riley's had some back and forth with the property owner. And the last time we met, Riley was very clear about what needed to happen in terms of dead wooding, removing all the underbrush, okay? Removing all the poison ivy, making the lot look much more attractive, cutting down all the dead trees, and maintenance and mowing regularly the embankment that faces Maple.
okay.
So, and I think Riley's still working through that. But yeah, I mean, if we don't hear back from her, then maybe.
Okay.
If she lives in town, I mean, I don't think she's gonna, I don't know if she's just gonna let us take care of her stuff.
I don't know. I mean, what do we have a policy, right? If you go there so many times, you get
Well,
the notice.
so like, as far as like taking over the care of a property, in my experience, we've only done that if the house is vacant. So if the people,
That black dog that chases the cars up and down the fence line, is that what we're talking about?
No, that's
No.
another property. That's the
The
one.
old Cunningham family?
No, there, it goes behind that.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to see it on the map. I don't know, but I don't want to take over maintaining the property. I'm just saying if we go in and do the job that needs to be done and build the property owner, is that in our policy? If they've gotten their notice, they didn't do what they were supposed to do, the next step is that we just step in?
the next step is to find them.
Okay, whatever it is.
So,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So just find out where we are in that process.
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, and if you could also ask her about the one I asked her to check on, coming down Cemetery Alley. The garage is just overcome by weeds and the whole backyard, you can't even see it. It just looks like a jungle. And I have a feeling rentals are on both sides, so that's probably why no one has complained maybe. But you can't even see the backyard. The
Coming down
garage is just
Cemetery?
come down and past your brother's house, keep coming down almost to the parking lot for the post office. And you'll see it on the right-hand side, you'll see weeds all over the garage door, and you can't see the backyard.
But that's not cemetery, that's
Oh, Reader's Alley.
readers. Okay, then you have me confused.
Reader's
Okay,
Alley.
yeah, readers. Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay. All right, thanks, Riley. Town manager report.
So you touched on a little bit, the Crestview well decommissioning and demolition is scheduled for this December to start. We have been working with the HOA over there. Obviously, it's kind of like a twofold issue. And, kids are using the paved driveway to skateboard. And people are using that path to access the parkland, which is it's actually completely within the rights. It's part of their bylaws. But the path itself is paved. So the idea is that when we get rid of our water treatment plant down there, we would also take up the paved driveway and put down grass. We're going to meet with the HOA this Wednesday, actually, at 2:30 to discuss it in depth. I asked them if we could just convey the property that the water treatment plant sits on now to them, since it was contiguous with their parkland. And they said that they would consider it, but that first we would have to conduct an environmental assessment.
Oh, jeez.
So I said, just forget about it. We'll plant trees on it, it's okay, but anyway, we're meeting them down there. The good news on that project, though, is that I was trying to get organized in terms of what it's going to take in terms of permitting and construction to get the well itself decommissioned, which essentially just means filled with concrete. We have it in the budget, in this year's budget, for $80,000. I reached out to a well contractor that we work with often, Phillips Well Drilling. And after a little bit back and forth, he said, you know what, I'm just gonna do that for free. I'll donate that to the town. So,
Just get that right.
yeah.
I'm just kidding. I think I will.
building there, that's decommissioning the well. We have to tear the building down first, then they just decommission the well, or they got to do the well first before we build it.
I think we should probably decommission the well first,
Yeah.
and then do the building demo, and Greg can do the building.
I'll make it.
So, but yeah, that's like $80,000. And so Brian reached out to Jason to find out, what the accounting behind all that is. So, and we're getting that all figured out. And then I gave everybody another handout, this is another Stu Mullendorf creation. We're working recently with a lot of elected officials and a lot of state officials. And I mean, we're developing a lot of really good relationships, and honestly, the kind of teamwork that we've been able to develop with our elected officials and a lot of state officials is something to be proud of and something we should really hold on to. The thought was we were all meeting Stu, Howard. No, you were there. Was it you? No.
No, when we get to the bottom of the story, I'll tell you.
Okay. Well, we were discussing it and talking about how, we really need to be able to show appreciation to the elected officials we work with. So Stu designed a plaque that is made out of native cherry wood. And, pretty simple. The idea was to give to elected officials, and only those who have, really gone, this is kind of, will be our version of the key to the town, sort of thing. But give them something that they would be proud to hang on their wall. And so as of right now, we have quite a few people that we owe debts of gratitude to. One of them being Senator Corbin. And to get 10 plaques, which would have give us a few to spare, I think it would be around $1,500. So we would like to be able to do this in time for the legislative session, and I can't express enough how important it is to show gratitude and to show that we care as much as we care for how hard they work. We care about everything they're doing for us. I know a lot of it has to do with being an election year. But this kind of stuff is so important, not only just by being, having gratitude for somebody really doing a good job for the state, for our town. But also, because when you show this kind of gratitude, other people want to be nice to you too. So it really engenders that kind of spirit. So, and honestly, I've noticed that. I mean, I really do think it's, when Howard and Kim worked on that dedication for the divers, that was really nice. And they really appreciated that. And I think this is something that we should work on and maybe formalize a little bit. So I don't know how you guys feel about this, and I don't think it's anything we necessarily need to act on right away. But I think what we do now is hand out plaques, which is very nice. It makes them look very nice. But for elected officials and things like that, and for people like Phillips Well Drilling who are donating $80,000 for the service to the town, maybe this is the appropriate response. So,
Can I bring some back to the workshop with the plan?
Sure.
How many we want to do right away and what the cost is and where we're going to get it from?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, my thoughts are Senator Quarterman, Delegate Weibel, obviously Trone and Van Hollen, Secretary Brinkley, Neil Parrott,
Jeff Klein.
Definitely Jeff Klein, but that'd be for just the county commissioners, obviously. Yeah. Yeah, and there's a long list already.
And Phillips Well drawing.
Those well drilling.
Okay. All right. I'll bring some more information back to the workshop for y'all. See if we can get this moving. Anything?
Oh, yeah. The fall tree giveaway went really well. We had about 20 volunteers, planted 156 trees. Jeff Davison did a really nice job of deciding where all the trees are gonna go. He's got a nice long row of dogwoods. That's a nice looking tree plant. What is that? What did you get?
Red maple.
Red maple instead of a dogwood? Yeah, that was smart.
In the same hole.
Got 2 gallons of water on it.
If this one dies, there's something wrong with my yard.
Yeah.
You got grass, you got the meat.
That's not in that area.
Yvette took care of the pickups this weekend. She said everything went really well. Yeah, another good year. Intersection update. We met with the county recently and with Washington County Public School staff. And apparently they want us to follow the Uniform Act, which is not a state law, it's a federal law. And it's put in place to ensure that owners of real property that is to be acquired for federal or federally assisted projects. Again, this is not a federal or federally assisted project, the intersection, are treated fairly and consistently. So I don't know why the county wants us to jump through that hoop. We're gonna have to hire a special consultant to make sure that, Scott McElwee is gonna be okay with everything. And, I mean, it's just bureaucracy at its worst, yeah. Right.
The county probably has to know.
No, that's not what they said.
I don't know, it's just a slow walking process. It's just.
They gave us that money out of their surplus.
You would think an okay from Scott McElroy would be fine enough.
And him signing it, I mean, he has to sign a contract too.
Well, they're just worried about repercussions coming back, you know what I mean, lawsuits. if somebody didn't get-
I mean, most people
Sue
are
us.
normal, but then every once in a while you get a wild card and like you just said, someone come back and be like, well, I wasn't treated fairly.
CYA.
But I'm sure it's because they accept federal funds, so they're just trying to cover the bases.
Whatever it takes.
No,
Keep
I
going.
think they're just trying.
No,
To me, it feels like they're just.
No, they're
Brick
not.
walls.
They,
Just the
they
school board?
want the, no,
This
this
is
is.
the county doing this, this is the county.
I mean,
He
they're
says,
not-
he says the county adopted the federal Uniform Act.
I mean, with the well project at the school board, we're used to them sandbagging, so it wouldn't be. a
Yeah.
shock.
That well's still not online as far as I know, so.
School board's not getting but
No.
No.
Anything else from all?
No, that's it.
Okay. Does anybody else have any other business to come before the council tonight?
I had one other question. I know we talked before about including draft minutes for our commissions in our packet.
Okay.
But-
so
I know
sometimes we get them and sometimes we
get-
don't
yeah,
by the
so
time of
that's
the meeting.
workshop or- I just say,
So-
you know what I mean, if you're, wants us to make sure we're informed without copies of the minutes, we only know what's stated.
So typically, as soon as I get them, I put them on the website under those commissions.
And certainly, I mean,
But-
council can reach out to the secretaries that they liaise to.
We revised the policy and you asked that these be included in our meeting packet. Just follow.
And I can certainly,
I don't think that should fall on staff, though, is the point I'm making.
yeah, I think the liaisons can help get that information out. As soon as I get it, I can send it out. I mean, because
But
ours
we
is
made
big.
a policy for the chairs that they were supposed to, the chairs and liaisons were supposed to be responsible for getting them to us at all times.
There you go.
About it, but I don't remember a policy.
Okay. Any other business to come before the council? Terry? No,
I make a motion, we adjourn.
there you go. Okay.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Opposed? Good. Thank you so much. We are adjourned.
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh.